Hello, I'm Akihiro,
Hi, my name is Paulina.
and we would like to talk about the child labor in the world. First of all, child labor is one of the major issues in the world, and according to an article by Our World in Data, International Labor Organization stated in the World Report on Child Labor, there are approximately 256 million children, and that is about 70% of the worldwide children population working in the world. Sub-Saharan Africa is the region with the most child labor. Numbers of child labor are high, particularly in countries with the lowest standards of living. So, my thesis is that child labor is reprehensible, as not only does it waste the early life of a child, but it is also morally wrong on every level. Well, first of all, what situations cause child labor? According to the International Labor Organization, the primary greatest cause is poverty that drives children into the workplace, among other causes, such as adults taking advantage of their vulnerabilities and poor educational systems. In some parts, local customs, traditions, and popular perceptions are involved in the cause of child labor. For example, the view that girls are less in need of education than boys, leading them to be taken out of school at an early age and placed in work. Some reasons can be related to the idea of utilitarianism, in which an action is correct if it seeks to motivate the greatest happiness in the world. So, in this case, children are forced into a situation where they have no other choice than work and choose to because it seeks the greatest happiness, helping the family out. Um, there are several forms of child labor. Some worst forms of child labor include slavery, child trafficking, bondage, serfdom, forced labor, sexual exploitation, illicit activities, producing and trafficking drugs, and more. These forms are against Kant's idea, in which Kant believed that the moral principle is given by reason in states, and they can only act in such a way that the value and the principle of action are accepted as a universal law. The form of actions such as slavery, debt, bondage, ex- sexual exploitation, among others, are against Kant's moral because these actions cannot be accepted as a universal law. In child labor, there are many dangerous jobs categorized as hazardous child labor, in which the children are forced to work in dangerous or unhealthy conditions, such as poor safety and bad working arrangements. These hazardous child labor can result in permanent disability, ill health, psychological damage, injuries, or in the worst case, death. Some examples of hazardous child labor include agriculture, mining, construction, manufacturing, as well as in hotels, bars, restaurants, markets, and domestic services. To go against theses, my antithesis is giving children the right work, not only respects their bodily autonomy and with proper regulations can be the most moral choice. To support this, not all reasons to work are bad. Work can have many benefits for children. Work is a normal part of life, and children's work can result in the development of social responsibilities and the improvement to the quality of life for themselves and for their families. According to an article of Open Democracy, programs of sustainable development, such as through agricultural technology, have even shown increases in child's work. As we can see, children's work can provide contributions. We cannot be biased that all work is bad. Like Nietzsche's idea of Superman, we have to think independently and individually against major problems, and we cannot be easily influenced by the biased ideas around us.
Uh, we, however, have to question ourselves in these cases if the greater good is better than those that are individually affected by the situations. If we take into consideration one of the great thinkers of utilitarianism, Bentham, he mentions often that we also have to take in mind the individual's happiness in order to create a happy society. It has been proven that child labor has multiple negative effects when it comes to their child's future psyche and physical health in general. It has been proven that during this essential growth period, if they are isolated or away from social activities, it can often lead to other social problems, and also to mental health problems like depression. It has also been proven that their physical health is in danger because often these activities or work options are up to par when it comes to the bodies or the amount of work an adult can handle. And there's times where children are even put in dangerous situations where they can get hurt and it can affect their future. But most importantly, one of the greatest areas that child labor impacts is the poverty problem that itself caused child labor. Um, if children are put into jobs, it has been proven also, as as Lyon in 2014 said, it can lead to other problems like them leaving their schoolwork in order to focus more on their jobs, and also they even sometimes don't even study in order to be working. However, if we look at this issue in a general utilitarian way, we also have to take in mind the good of the society and the families. Sadly, child labor has become part of very microeconomies and has impacted them in a way that they cannot go back to what it was before. One of these big sectors is the agricultural sector. 60% of the children who are working right now as in child labor are working in the agricultural sector. Most of these children often have to work when it comes to their families' farms, etc., etc., in order to help their families. Um, Sadly, it has it. Most of these cases are due to the fact that at that moment, they don't have what is necessary. And if a child needs to work in order to provide their family with the basic needs, it might be excused at times. In and truth be told, the reality is that child labor is a problem born from poverty. It's a deeply rooted problem that has affected those that are the most vulnerable, and their contributions have become a part of an economy that needs them and sadly puts their own well being at risk. As I said before, it is not all bad. Children can get their own autonomy and continue to contribute in small areas of the family. If we see it as Aristoteles, for example, would, it's truly just a search for virtue and a middle ground. It comes to having a mixture of the child's own autonomy, their own choices, their future, their well-being, and that of those around them.